This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Songs with. Songs with. Songs with. Songs with. Songs with.
Place to Be Nation, welcome to episode 2 of Songs with Friends here on the Place to Be Nation pop feed. My name is Steve Williams, and joining me once again is Kelly. Kelly, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
You know, I can't complain. It's been kind of hectic, as we talked about off air a little bit. My dog is currently serving hard time for doing his best to sabotage this little adventure today. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about some songs from 30 to 40 years ago. It should be a good time.
Awesome.
Now, before we get started, I'd like to thank everyone that listened to our debut episode. Songs with Friends episode 1 is in the archives over at placetobenation.com if you want to check it out. And speaking of placetobenation.com, we are recording this on the 5th anniversary of the website. Most of the guys at Place to Be Nation, we are brand new here. But Justin and Scott and the rest of those guys have been putting out content for quite a while now, probably going back to, I think, 2011. I reached out to Justin in, I think, 2012 through Facebook, just to let him know, hey, man, I like what you guys are doing, this wonderful work here on the site. And then they actually opened up the website in 2013, have since opened up separate feeds for the Place to Be Nation Pop, the wrestling, and the pro wrestling only feed. I actually met these guys in probably, I think it was 2016 at the WrestleMania weekend in Dallas with a great tailgate thrown on by Nick Duke. If any of you guys out there get a chance to go to a Nick Duke tailgate, I highly recommend it. Frankly, he gets you well fed, he gets you drunk, and he does it all for a very low, reasonable price. Nick Duke is the tailgate king. And that day I met some great people that are associated with the site. Johnny P., Will from Texas, obviously. Mark Clare, who spent the entire afternoon trolling me. Just great guys over there at the site. My friends who aren't associated with the Place to Be at all, they had some trepidation about joining me for this tailgate. Just because, a lot of wrestling fans are not always the most socially appropriate people. So they were legit concerned. And once we got there, though, all those worries went away. They had nothing but good things to say. Cameron over at southcongress.com has actually put over that tailgate on his show before as a great experience, and nothing but love for the guys over at placetobenation.com. Thank you guys once again for letting us be part of your family and for letting the Songs with Friends podcast be a part of the Place to Be Nation pop feed. With that being said, the premise of Songs with Friends is that we read through the lyrics of 2 songs and we let those lyrics guide the direction of our conversation. Maybe we accuse popular artists of adultery. Maybe we tell stories of our own past, or maybe we even blatantly make stuff up to pop ourselves. Who knows what could happen? Side note, I did not know that Dido has a very fervent and very passionate fan base in 2018. They were kind of coming from my neck last week for saying that maybe Dido is a side chick. I mean, if you're that passionate about something, God bless you. Thanks for listening. I mean, it won't be the first time I slander a celebrity on the show, so look forward to it.
That's hilarious. That's very shocking, actually.
Yeah, I could not believe the comments I was getting. I'm like, well, all right. Well, thanks for playing, The first song we are going to explore this week is from Fleetwood Mac's 1975 self-titled album, which was actually their second self-titled album because it was the 70s and everybody was stoned. We are talking about Landslide. Now, oddly enough, Landslide was not released as a single when the album came out. It was released as a single in 1998, 23 years later, when the live version picked up steam after being featured on their Fleetwood Mac reunion album. Kelly, tell us why you picked Landslide.
I love this song. My mom used to listen to this song when I was little, so I remember it from that. And Oddly enough, I think the live version from 1998 is my favorite. So that was the year I graduated high school, and just have a lot of good memories from that time. So,
I don't think I actually heard the song until 1998. I had incredibly young parents. Shout out to, high school dropouts, irresponsibility, and the MTV generation, all that shit. Like, I knew Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and all that shit when I was a kid, but I didn't know Fleetwood Mac until the 90s when they got back together.
oh,
So let's get into it. We start with I Took My Love, and these lyrics are slightly off. I'm going just straight up from the Google lookup, so forgive me if I get these a little bit wrong.
okay.
I took my love, I took it down, climbed a mountain, and I turned around. Kelly, I think we're kind of starting off with a real introspective lyric here. What's your interpretation of this so far?
Okay. Well, and I watched some stuff about this, even her feedback on the song. So I thought that was kind of interesting, just like interviews and stuff with her. But I think a lot of what I read, this whole song was about a breakup. So this seems to be a theme of the songs that I'm picking, unfortunately. But, here I am. So, and I think the way she had made it seem, and I took it the same way, is just looking back at like a relationship that you're having a change in, and just kind of, looking at from hindsight, maybe, that's kind of how I take those two lyrics.
Yeah, I climbed a mountain really stuck with me on this part. To me, climbing a mountain is not easy. It is a very long, arduous journey that's going to take a lot out of you. So I think at this point she is looking at this failed relationship as something she has conquered and is now looking back on. And that is a moment of self-reflection and figuring out, all right, I've climbed this mountain, now what do I do? Now what's next? And I think the relationship ending, which if any of you know anything about Fleetwood Mac, I mean, the entire existence of Fleetwood Mac is relationships ending and beginning, and there's some people that are married and some that aren't, and some people are married but they're screwing each other.
A lot going on.
It is. It's a veritable battle royal of relationship woes within the Fleetwood Mac band. So yeah, I think at any given time, the whole thing could fall apart at any second, and that volatility is part of what makes the music amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, the live version video that I watched today was her on stage with Lindsay, and I mean, that's the guy that she was with, just the two of them singing the song, and I thought, gosh, that's got to be gut-wrenching or feel strange. So she's singing this song, and he was playing next to her, playing the guitar. So it was very interesting.
Yes, she climbs the mountain and she turns around, and the fucker's right there.
Yeah.
Looking over her shoulder, playing a guitar. Looking at her like, yep, I know you still love me. It's been 30 years. Tell me I'm wrong.
That's the vibe I got.
All right. And then she says, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brought it down. All right. So at this point, we've climbed the mountain. We're looking back, and we see this horrific landslide. There's nothing scarier than being on the base of a damn mountain and a landslide coming in your general direction.
Yeah. I've never experienced that, but yes, I would think so.
Living in a trailer park for my formative years, I did not literally experience a landslide of any sort. We occasionally had high waters.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's a perfect metaphor.
Yeah.
For, you're building this relationship, and then all of a sudden, the world you built comes crumbling around you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very daunting thing to look at. Anything to add to that, Kelly?
Yeah. And I mean, I was thinking about it with this song. It doesn't even have to be a relationship with a love, it could be a family member, a friend, whatever. So, I mean, in life, you just change and evolve, and you can become something different. And I feel like when I, read that, that's kind of how I look, is, looking back on who she was, but also just seeing your world unraveling and what's going to come after that. So.
All right. Very nice. Then we get to a bit of a scene change almost, where now she's looking See, I originally interpreted this as literally looking in a mirror, but
Yeah.
she says, "Oh, mirror in the sky," which would not necessarily reflect a literal mirror being there. She's speaking out to whatever and whoever it is she speaks out to. "Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above?" Now, when I first heard this song, I was 16 at my first girlfriend's house. So at 16, you still very much have that child within your heart. Dealing with breakups and first loves and finding your way through those waters. So I related to it on that level back then. Now, as a 36-year-old man, not so much. My inner child, outside of still enjoying video games and professional wrestling, my inner child for the most part left me a long time ago.
Yeah.
However, the child in my heart, can I rise above? Kelly, what's your take on that, and kind of where do you see this going from here?
Well, for me, like the mirror in the sky part, kind of think to me that was more whatever you believe in, and is it a god, a higher power, whatever. So I don't know why that, to me, that's whoever has their faith of whatever kind, that's kind of what they're looking for there. Yeah, and the same on the child. I mean, I just think in life you lose all that innocence and that child, nothing like that first love where you just open-heartedly fall in love with someone. And that's kind of how I take that. And just, again, to me, I don't know, but this song is all about changing as a person. So I think that's kind of what I see there.
Yeah, and riding on that same theme, that is carried through on the next lyrics. Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? I think regardless of age, this is pretty indicative of a first real deep relationship falling apart. Can I handle this change? I had the goodness, the greatness, that fulfillness of belonging with someone, and now that I'm on the other side of that and I'm experiencing this pain and this anguish, like, at this young age, do I have this perseverance to get through this, and not having been through it before and not knowing that it does get better on the other side?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you literally think you're going to die, like your first heartbreak. Well, I know I did. I just didn't think I was going to survive that. And then you realize you do. So,
I did not, my mom is very volatile. And I knew enough to know that oftentimes people will break up and make up and that kind of stuff. So, I was home depressed and shit for days when I was 16 and we broke up. But I didn't bother telling my mom, because I figured if we get back together, my mom is going to never look at this girl the same way again because she broke her son's heart. And sure enough, the following Tuesday when we got back together, thank God
Yes.
I kayfabed that and kept it to myself, because my mom would have given that girl dirty looks for the next year.
Yeah, rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Oh, man. All right, now we go on to that similar theme. I think we've pretty much tapped the theme of the song, and the rest of the lyrics will almost reinforce these ideas. Well, I've been afraid of changing because I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Kelly, start us off here with kind of what these lyrics invoke in you.
Yeah, I think like that first section, the afraid of changing. I mean, I know, I think everyone does, of having a large part of your life with a person that you're used to. And, as you change as a person, they may not like who you're changing into, or vice versa. And I think this can even apply to like parents. I think about that. I'm lucky for parental figures in my life, but I have a lot of friends that have very unstable relationships with their parents even now. And I think some of that is if my parents allowed me to be who I wanted to be. I mean, my dad's as conservative as could all be, and I'm about as liberal as they come. So, and I never felt like that was bad or wrong. He lets me be who I want to be. But I know a lot of people who struggle with that with just their parents, just letting them be who they are as even a 30-some-year-old adult. So, that's kind of how I see that. And then, of course, just change. I mean, that's what this song was all about to me. I mean, just as you get older, I know for me, I feel like as I get older, I get stronger. And there's no way you're going to be the same person. You shouldn't be. If you are, that's, to me, that's really sad. So, but sometimes who you change into, people, aren't a fan of it. So find those that are.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I like looking at it from the perspective of not necessarily a romantic relationship, as relationships with anyone in our day-to-day life. Sometimes it just happens. You grow and you change, and sometimes you grow apart. It doesn't necessarily have to be a heated exit from each other's lives. Hey, sometimes shit happens, and you could either fight it and hold resentment toward that person, or you can just branch out and be the best you can be. And sometimes you have to let go to keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. And I'm getting older too. All right. And then it's just then when I got confused, I'm looking at the lyrics and it's that same thing repeated.
Yeah, this is a short song. I never thought that actually when I used to listen to it, but I was like, there's really not a lot of lyrics to it. So
yeah, and that's why we do 2 songs here on Songs with Friends, because this will happen a lot. Oftentimes, it is a solid 2-3 paragraphs of actual lyrics, 4 to 5 minutes of guitar riffs, harmonicas,
yes,
pyro and ballyhoo, just general fuckery. But we goes back into almost back where she started. She says, I took my love and I took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, the landslide will bring it down. Now, I like this because there's a very subtle shift here. She's back to, I took my love and I took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around. But this time, if you see my reflection in those snow-covered hills, the landslide will bring you down.
Yeah.
I think we've hit a point now of growth where she's not afraid anymore. She's gotten through the hard part, and now she's strong enough to see her value, and that this landslide, which is created by this relationship shifting, won't hurt me anymore, but it may hurt the other person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's significant.
I'd agree on that. Absolutely. And empowering.
I remember talking about this song, probably 10 years ago, in the office I worked in at the time with some older ladies. And I had this theory.
What's older? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Keep in mind, I would have been no older than 27. So, and these were all women in their 50s.
Okay.
So, I had a theory that Stevie Nicks is a terrifying woman. And because she hadn't aged much. And then she's, you see her reflection in those snow-covered hills, the landslide will bring you down. That's terrifying.
Yes.
This woman with her witchcraft and her long dresses and whatnot.
Yes.
She's the type that will haunt you forever.
Well, and she's very terrifying because I don't think she feels like she needs a man at all. I mean, I watched several interviews of hers this week, and I was like, she's like, I made a decision a long time ago. I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids, that this was my love. My passion was music. And I think that's kind of intimidating, period, to find a woman that would say something like that. I mean, just that was enough for her to be happy in her life. So she's pretty terrifying. Pretty terrifying.
And every man in that group, so every man who's come within close proximity of Stevie Nicks has fallen madly in love with her and never been the same afterwards.
Yes.
So good for Stevie. Stevie Nicks, if you're listening to this, you're like 75 years old now, but you still got it. God bless you.
Yeah. She's a total badass.
All right. I think that'll wrap us up for the landslide portion of the show. And now we're going to jump ahead to 1987. This is Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now, which is the second single from her self-titled album. I picked this song because, frankly, it's disturbing.
It genuinely shocked me when you picked this song. I have to say, I was almost speechless, which says a lot for me. So I was shocked.
All right, a little bit of background on this. In 1987, Tiffany would have been 15 years old. Pretty young red-haired girl. She had a first single on this album. The song was called Danny, and it flopped. Got no play whatsoever. So because her management were geniuses, they charted out this pretty little 15-year-old girl, put her on a little bus, and sent her across shopping malls all across America, where she performed in front of various Jamba Juices and Aunt Annie's Pretzels, many a food court in many a mall. Maybe she even went to the Mall of America and performed in front of Pastamania. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like it worked. It was a real grassroots thing where she got a chance to get her face out there. She sang her song. She had her posters distributed. And somewhere along the way, she went to a video kitchen in one of these malls and recorded the video. This video is so terrible that it's awesome.
Yes.
It may have been recorded on a camcorder that was also used for an America's Funniest Home Video. It is just every cheesy, chintzy-ass effect you could possibly think of. At one point, she's in front of a train, and then she's with street performers.
Yes.
And lots of performances at the malls. Like, all right, you're here all the time. We might as well get video footage of these kids going nuts for you. And it works. To the point where there is a documentary that I stumbled upon called I Think We're Alone Now, that is about people who have stalked Tiffany. And these were grown men who fixated on this girl. And it's like the creepiest shit you've ever seen. Like, none of these people are mentally well, clearly. One of them will tell everybody he encounters how Tiffany is a good, close personal friend of his, and he keeps newspaper clippings. At one point, he offered her, like, a ninja weapon as a show of friendship.
Oh.
That's his story. You know, the actual news article is he's found at the steps of her studio with a fucking katana.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. It's creepy. It's on YouTube for free, called I Think We're Alone Now, if you want to check that out. I recommend it in a sick, macabre kind of way. This is a remake. The original song was by a group called Tommy James and the Shondells. I listened to that right before we started recording, and I can say that, oddly enough, Tiffany's version is far superior for some reason. I don't know how that happened, that a 15-year-old redhead girl was able to do a song better than the original, but hey, man, she did it. God bless her.
Yeah. In the mall.
In the mall, that's right. Right next to Orange Julius. She knocked this shit out of the park. Going to pull up the lyrics now, and we'll get into it. Of course, now that I'm live, I'm going to have to go to a web page and hope we don't get a weird pop-up. All right, there we go. Keep in mind, again, this girl's 15 years old. Children behave. That's what they say when we're together. And watch how you play. They don't understand. All right. My child is 13 years old. I would not speak to her in this manner. This indicates that they're talking to people much younger than 15.
Yeah.
Children behave, that's what they say when we're together, and watch how you play. Like, these are kids playing doctor, perhaps?
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they're actually two children and not a weird producer situation.
Word. That's probably more likely. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I don't want to get into legitimate legal slander here on the podcast. Oh, so we will preface all this with allegedly.
Allegedly.
I don't need my lawyers having to contact Brad and help defend the Place to Be Nation from slander here. But yeah, this is on its own. It's a fun, catchy little song. But once you really start listening, it gets weird. Do you have any analysis of this part of the song?
No, I mean, this is crazy. Back when I was a kid, when I bought CDs, I would like get the whole insert and I would read it from back to front, who they dedicated to, all the lyrics. And I realized I actually didn't know this song because I thought the first line, which is probably even more creepy, I thought it said children this age forever. And I was like, oh my word. So that kind of That's how I would sing it if I heard it on the radio, to be quite honest with you. And so I was like, I was more of a Debbie Gibson fan, whatever. And I mean, that's just how it goes. So I didn't even know the lyrics. That kind of shocked me. But yeah, I mean, when I was little and I heard this song, or I don't know, whatever age I was, I just assumed it was about kids playing together. But now I see it differently. Little kids.
All
So
right, a sidebar. Have you seen the sci-fi movie with Deborah Gibson and Tiffany that came out maybe 6 or 7 years ago?
I have not.
All right, find that movie. It was a sci-fi network movie about some kind of giant creature, as these movies usually are.
Oh my gosh.
Where Tiffany is like a park ranger, but she's dressed wildly inappropriate. You could tell she was on the other side of a boob job. And she could not wait to show these things off.
Yes.
So she's running around bouncing all over the place, and Debbie Gibson is her rival. And it is a confirmed hoot of a movie. I cannot recommend this movie enough for those of you who like bad cinema.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
All right. Moving on. And so we're running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hand. Now, to me, this is very, very childlike. You're holding hands with your friends, maybe your little boyfriend or whoever, and then it takes a turn. Trying to get away into the night. Why aren't those kids indoors behind a locked door watching TGIF programming?
Yes.
What the hell?
Yes.
Somebody's parents has their eye off the ball here.
For sure.
Trying to get away into the night, and then you put your arms around me, and we tumble to the ground. And then you say, I think we're alone now. Why are these kids trying so hard to be alone?
Yes.
It's like they know what they're doing is inappropriate.
Well, and I think I'm going to assume so I can feel better about this song. They're like teenagers, like as normal, 15, 16-year-old kids. And so back then that was pretty taboo, probably more so like premarital sex, those types of things. So I guess I can get them wanting to be alone at that age.
All right, and connecting it to the original with Tommy James on the Shondells, who the hell were they singing to? Because they're grown men.
We need to interview them.
Yeah, you know what? I will try to get that. I'll try to make that happen. If we can I already have a first guest lined up, but I will bump that person if we can get Tommy James and or a Shondell on the show.
Yeah, you're getting bumped. Whoever you are, you're getting bumped.
That's right. We're not going to release that info until we have everything booked. And real quick, that sci-fi movie was called Mega Python versus Gatoroid.
Oh, my word. That is... Okay.
Yeah, it's as bad as it sounds. All right. I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. And my voice is even getting creepier reading the lyrics.
I was just thinking that. Sorry.
The beating of our hearts is the only sound. My God. All right, so they're alone. It's night. They're trying to be quiet. Trying to duck and dodge from parents, babysitters, possibly authority figures. With Tommy James involved, possibly a parole officer? What the hell is happening here? Now, Kelly, you aren't looking at this as morbidly as I am. From a normal person's perspective.
I'm the normal person. We're already in trouble. Well, just because I want to think these songs, well, not that 8 years old I knew anything about love, but I want to think that, they're about first love. And when you're at that age, you don't have a place. So, you can't. My parents certainly wouldn't let a boy in my room closing the door, So, I mean, you try to find other ways to be alone together, whether it be a car or, whatever teenagers.
Kelly spilling the
the
secrets.
park, whatever. It's gonna, whatever you need to do.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So, I mean, that's how I would see it. I mean, just, teenagers trying to get some private time, being alone. And that's hard to do when you're that age.
Yeah, we're gonna hope for the sake of everything that is good in life that these people were at the very least teenagers at this point.
Yes. Two consenting teenagers. That's what I'm assuming
In the state of Kentucky, the age of consent is 16, so we will go with that.
It's 16?
It is. The only reason I know this is we had a high school teacher who was looking out for us.
Oh.
That would tell us, guys, all right, 16 is okay in the eyes of the law up to a certain point. It's a weird window because prior to that, I guess there were like upperclassmen getting in trouble for sleeping with freshmen type situations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they made 16 the age of consent. But if you were, it was like 16 to 21. Once you passed 21, then you couldn't be with anyone younger than 18. Not that I would ever test those limits. But just want to get that on the record. But yeah, those were the laws, at least here in Kentucky. But either way, Tiffany at 15 was under those consent lines, damn it.
Yes. Yes, she really was.
She was a naughty mall singer. And that is,
yes.
We do not condone that behavior here.
No.
All right.
I showed my daughter that video, so we'll have to. She had some crazy wild thoughts on that video. She could not understand what was going on at all.
All right.
Shoot.
Then we go into look at the way we gotta hide what we're doing. I feel like I should read a Bible right now. Because
Get it out.
What would they say if they ever knew? I can give them the benefit of the doubt up to this point. Look at the way we gotta hide what we're doing. Like, as a kid, all right, I'll just put it out there. I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing when I was 16.
Not me. No, I'm just kidding.
No. While Kelly was drinking warm milk and reading Psalms.
Big scandal. When I was 15, my boyfriend was 19. So that was scandalous.
Oh, shit. You guys were on the wrong side of the law.
Yeah.
My goodness. What a scoop here on Songs with Friends.
I know.
Phew, all right. But, so yeah, maybe Kelly's boyfriend, back when she was 15, was singing these lyrics.
That might have been it.
Looking at himself in the mirror.
My word.
Because what would they say if they ever knew?
Oh, that's super creepy. But, maybe.
Yeah, it just weirds me out the more I read this. All right.
Yeah, it is pretty creepy. I think if you look at it from, I don't know not that premarital sex isn't okay. Everyone has their view on that, but as time goes, it's less of a thing. But I think back then that was like really more taboo maybe than it is today. So that would maybe where that's coming from. Like if they knew what we were doing, they were being sinners or whatever. So
and that's a good point because good context. Because the original song, which was written in 1960 whatever, I want to say 68, but I don't know that for sure. There was a much different time back then than even 1987 was. So if you have these two people going on dates to the drive-in movie and to the malt shop and whatever, and heavy petting, whatever went on in the Happy Days parking lot.
Yeah,
I'm sure that was super scandalous back then. And, I'm sure they did have to worry about not only their reputations, but oftentimes the family component would be damaged if they found out that you were engaging in underage activities.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you do have an unwed pregnancy situation. All of a sudden, you could be shunned by your townspeople.
Yes. My mother went through this. My mom got pregnant when she was very young and 16 and hid it for a long time from her parents. And as soon as they knew, she was married within 3 weeks to my dad. So, and she was sophomore, I think, in high school, or she was 16 years old. And that was not socially acceptable there. She was on the wrong side of life for a while there by people's eyes. So it's kind of
Context changes everything. When I was 16, I didn't know any adults in my life who hadn't had a child at the age of 16.
Yes.
So when I was 16 in high school and messing around or whatever, we had a pregnancy scare, and I thought, well, this is what happens. I'm going to get a job at Burger King and be the best dad that I can be.
You had a plan.
I did. I was gonna flip those Whoppers, damn it, and provide for my 16-year-old mother and my child.
Well, and see, my mom was so crazy opposite because she didn't want me to have that in life. So I was way young when we started talking about that kind of stuff. She's like, you ain't having a baby when you're 16. So, she did the opposite for me to ensure that didn't happen. But every parent's different.
Yeah, my parents tried to instill that in me, but I was hard-headed, and I was just going to do what I was going to do. Thank God, that didn't happen. My daughter was not born until I was 23, and I already had a good head on my shoulders and financially on the right track and all that. But yeah, it can happen to you fast. Be careful with your kids. Wrap that rascal up.
Oh, what a slogan. What a slogan.
That's right. All right. And then we get into... we're just another refrain. And so we're running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hand, possibly running from authority. I don't know. There may be warrants at this stage of the song.
Oh, shoot.
And it looks like the rest of this is just the same lines over and over and over again, so we won't get into that. Other than she whispers, I think we're alone now, about 47 times as the music fades to black.
Yeah, when I printed this, I was like, wow, I really wasted a few sheets of paper on the back end. It's like, that was just on repeat. Yes, she does say that a lot.
All right, well, that'll wrap up the Tiffany talk this week. Now it's time to tell the people which songs are going to be featured on our next episode of Songs with Friends. Last time we planted our flags firmly in 2003. This week we visited the 70s and the 80s. And next time we will hit the 90s for the first time. At least on my end, we'll be talking about Ghostface Killah, All That I Got Is You from the 1996 album Iron Man. That is the first rap song that we've gone through, and I look forward to seeing how that goes. Kelly, what are you picking for us to talk about next week?
I'm going to say I don't even think I know that song. That's probably horrible. Maybe I will once I hear it.
It was released as a single, and I don't think it got much like MTV play, and it certainly wasn't like top 40. It was one of those BET kind of songs that, good songs that were just below the mainstream surface. And I know there is a video for it. And it's kind of a heavy song. I'm looking forward to really digging into that one.
Awesome. Well, my pick is The Unforgiven by Metallica.
My goodness, I was not prepared for that. So Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Put that down. All right. Awesome. So
I have like a list of 50 picks here, I swear, but that's what I'm feeling today. I want to talk about next time. So
and that song is also from the 90s, so it's interesting that we're both going back to the 90s.
I was more of a rock girl in the 90s, but I'll dive into this song you gave me.
Oh, fantastic. All right. We'd like to thank all of you for joining us for another episode of Songs with Friends. Kelly, is there anything you want to plug this week?
No, I guess if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's KelJean17, KELJEAN 17.
All right. You could follow me at Not Dr. Death on Twitter. That is NOTDRDEATH. Or you can follow the show proper at PTBN_songs. Again, if you have any song requests, feel free to send those. I have the messaging open on the Twitter account. We've got some good suggestions already. I'd like to thank Rich Fan over at the Pro Wrestling Torch Deep Dive. He's come out with several suggestions, which made me worry for my man Rich's mental health. God bless him. All kidding aside, we love those guys over there at the Torch. But this has been another episode of Songs with Friends. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming out. God bless and good night.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, pro wrestling announcer Kevin Kelly here. I want to make sure you are all subscribed to all the great feeds here at Place to Be Nation. It's really easy to do. Just head to iTunes or your preferred podcatcher app today and search and subscribe to the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, which of course includes the full archives of the Kevin Kelly Show, the Place to Be Nation pod feed, and the Pro Wrestling Only feed. Subscribe, listen, and then rate us and leave feedback today. And be sure to give Justin your true thoughts. I mean, don't hold back. After all, he is kind of a jerk. Just listen to Scott.
Place to Be Nation's JT Rosero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlaceToBeNation.com. We offer them to you on two great feeds. On the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, we bring you the Mothership, the Place to Be podcast, along with Main Event, Survey Says, the Monday Night Wars, and our monthly pay-per-view reaction show, as well as Jeff Learns Wrestling. In addition to these full-length shows, we also deliver special network podcasts and pod blasts on topics old and new.
Over on the Pro Wrestling Only feed, we dive deep inside the wrestling business with a stacked army of experts leading the way. The feed features potpourri shows such as This Week in Wrestling, Greetings from Allentown, Match of the Week podcast, and the Military Industrial Suplex. We also have shows that focus intently on certain topics like Through the Years, Worldcast, Strong Style History, Strong Style Story, and Mount Olympus. Plus, the feed has the full archives of legendary shows like Titans of Wrestling, Where the Big Boys Play, Letters from Center Stage, and Letters from Kayfabe, plus much more. And on our very popular Place to Be Nation Pop podcast feed, we offer such great shows as Talkin' Pop, the Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, NBA Team, PTBN Play, Sunday Groove, Breaking Balls, and Lucha Undead,
as well as a veritable podcast heaven for comics fans
with the Hard Traveling Fanboys, Sellers Points, Todd Weber's Conversations, Geek and Sassy, and Marvel Age podcasts.
You can find all of these current shows, plus archives of our past podcasts, including The Kevin Kelly Show, as well by subscribing to both feeds on iTunes. And while there, be sure to rate and leave feedback today. All these shows, plus others, available at PlayStation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth stretch projects, and more. Be sure to support our site by using PlayStation.com/Amazon when doing your online shopping, and download our free PTB Vintage Vault Refresh ebooks via the links on our site. We also want to thank our friends at Boneheads Wing Bar in West Warwick, Rhode Island, and Fall River, Massachusetts, and historyofwrestling.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlayStationNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.